We live. What's up? What's up? What's up? I missed yesterday, but I'm back. Yeah, I missed Monday, but we back today. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope everybody had a great Father's Day. Boom. The stock market will be closed on Thursday because that is Juneteenth. So we got to be aware of that. Other than that, good morning to everybody. Let me get over here. We got a few minutes before the stock market opens. And don't mind the thumbnail. I will change it. I will change it. Try to get the electric cut on as soon as possible. I gotta go through this again. They're unavailable. We gotta go through this again. So I'm gonna bring some companies that have walked through the high school and see what kind of building. Let me see what's going on, y'all. If anybody's in here watching, because it's saying that the video is unavailable. So I'm going to look at the cameras. It's going to take me a while because the cameras are continuous record. The cameras are continuous record. So I have to look at all the footage because I don't know what day this happened. It could have happened yesterday. It could have happened 30 days ago. I don't know if this happened when I was in UCLA. Shout out to my UCLA students. I don't know if this happened when I was at Manchester University in the UK. I wonder why. I don't know if this happened when I was some reason it's not showing that I'm live. Well, anyway, I don't know what's going on. I gotta do what I gotta do. I don't know if I'm live or not. It's saying that I'm live. Appreciate y'all for joining me, the people that are in here, but for some reason, I can't see what's going on. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I was having a little difficulties. I thought maybe I wasn't live, but man, appreciate y'all for joining me. So it was Wednesday, well, Tuesday. I missed yesterday, but we back. Let's see, we got support at 144.30. We got resistance right at 145.23. But as we know from last week, that 145 area is a hard area to break. But we will try to get over it. We are starting off the day red. Let's see what AMD got going on. AMD is green. The S&P 500 is red. Well, now NVIDIA is green. We're trying to see what's going on. We right up at support. It's going to be hard to break the 145. But we got to get back above the 145 for the next leg on up. But 145 rejection. First 2 minutes open on Tuesday. I missed yesterday, guys.
But I'm back today. I'm back. So hope everybody had a great Father's Day weekend. Hope everything went well. Okay, here we go. We back at support. You get a day. You start on this day. You start for this week. You start from this week. So let me put it on. We'll just start fast forward until we meet someone. So I put it on the 5 minute. I'll start from the end of the 30 days. You start from the middle. So I put it on the 5 minute. Go backwards. You start in the middle and go forward. You start at the beginning. We're gonna find it. Got a higher low right here. A higher low right here. We got a big upper shadow, upper tail right there. We do have FOMC meeting tomorrow. And then Thursday is a holiday. Thursday is a holiday. So we got to be very aware of that. Let me turn it off this. We got to hear what's going on. Even though Dr. Umar Johnson is trying to get more money out the people. Trying to get more money out the people. I don't know if this happened when I was at Chicago. Shout out to Chicago and the Jacob Carruthers Center for Inner City Studies, Northeastern Illinois. Dr. Umar Johnson trying to get more money out of people. When I was at something always going on with that school that he has never opened. I ain't been on campus in a month, brothers and sisters. It's crazy. I haven't been on campus in a month, brothers and sisters, so I don't know when this happened. And nobody even bothered to call me to tell me it happened. Dr. Umar Johnson been trying to open up that school since I was 35 years old. Good to see you, brother. All right now. Nobody even bothered to call me. We got, let me put the resistance up here. Shout out to all my Wilmington supporters. I love you, Wilmington, Delaware. Shout out to all my Wilmington supportors. I love you, Wilmington. We got resistance right up there at the 46, 10 to the 46, 18 area. About a week ago. I don't know if this has anything to do with the vandalism. Destroyed my but that 145 collection that I have amassed is really, really hard to break. That hurt me in the heart. That hurt me in the heart. They spilled paint over everything. They stole some things, but they did way more vandalism than theft. They destroyed everything in there, brothers and sisters. Now we got to clean up the gym for the third time. This is the third time we've had to go through this. I used to hire security to sit outside. Coming up to 145. They didn't even do their damn job. They would be home sleeping, telling me they at the school, and then I would do random pop-ups, and they wouldn't even be out here. This is... So wait, why is somebody trying to sabotage his school so bad? Is it like the powers that be? Is it just YouTubers that don't like him? I'm just trying to figure out why does he need so much protection on the school? And if somebody is breaking into the school so easily, why would I send my kid there thinking it's safe when you can't even protect the building? Man, the place was like that when he got it. Like, how can you protect this building? How can you protect the students that go here? And why would I send my kid here? We're trying to build some type of support and get up above the 145, but it's just not moving right now. You don't got the right protection. There's no way I'm sending. Let's see what the S&P 500 is doing. Why? Yes, sir. Yes, we own the school, young brother. What's your name, Prince? What grade you in? You don't know your grade? You're about to go to the third. What grade you in, Prince? You in the 5th grade? Okay, y'all brothers, y'all look alike. So you're about to go to the 3rd, you said. So when we open up this school, it's going to be 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, right? So 4th grade, you might be here. right? 4th grade, you might be here. You're going to you're going to the 6th grade. We might not
barely been open for 7 minutes.
Building, the high school. And to my young princesses, we will be opening up the Anna Douglas Amy Garvey Academy for young princesses as well. So it's going to be boys first, and then it's going to be girls. So all y'all might one day be students at the school. Say that again. Some people just went and win. Win.
Let me turn it off this. I got it. This dude be tripping.
So y'all been seeing the people who've been breaking into the school.
Let's see what the people up the street got going on. Let's see that.
Out of cable and broadcast combined, and of course back to Zaslav and our company as well. You do have the cleavage of streaming and studio at Warner Brothers Discovery from their network assets, and as well here at NBC Universal, our company.
Trying to get above the 145
markets later this year as well, and then we know it's coming down. And by the way, sometimes it's easy. It's like, one thing's going up, buy Netflix, and you can just take a look at what that stock has done, Mike, over the last 5 years. It has been an extraordinary performer, up some 173%.
It is, and I mean, I just keep repeating myself on this, but it's fascinating how
let's see what the S&P 500 got going on.
Giving Alphabet credit for having YouTube inside of it. It's comparable revenue to Netflix. Now, the profit split is
We're talking about
Maybe
Google.
It's not quite as high margin.
Let's see
and
what's
all the
going
rest
on with
of it.
Google.
But just in terms of eyeball hours, it's there. Maybe within a $2.1 trillion Alphabet market cap, it is accounted for somewhere, but the valuation doesn't seem to capture.
Maybe, but I mean, I'm off at Nathanson report from a number of months ago. I believe had it at as much as $500 billion, perhaps.
Yeah, there's no way.
Imagine a market value that would be equal to Netflix.
Yeah.
And so that's what almost a quarter of the value at Alphabet conceivably, if it were to be on its own.
It's also telling that Netflix is now sourcing new shows from creators who got their start on YouTube.
Oh, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
No, for sure. I mean, it's kind of remarkable. And what's interesting too, though, is there's always been, because of linear kind of, there's the
Shout out to
concentration
YouTube.
of attention, so you can sell ads against it more easily.
We're talking
I mean,
about
that's
YouTube and Google right now.
Teaming up with Amazon, to try and get at this sort of amorphous, time-shifted thing. It's just not as efficient to sell ads. But, of course, the opportunity is going to be there for a long time.
I know you're watching this T-Mo news on SoftBank selling some shares to raise money for AI.
They're saying that
down 4.3% on this news.
Netflix is getting a lot of their content actors
They're down
from
sharply
YouTube.
Where they were.
Yeah, they were 7.5%. I believe they owned. Maybe they sold 2.3.
And to go back, obviously, when they did the
They're looking at YouTube creators.
Obviously, they sold Sprint to T-Mobile. They received T-Mobile shares, and they have been selling them significantly over time. But this latest sale is about 1.9%
Get content
and it
on Netflix.
Might take their ownership
Netflix is coming to YouTube, guys.
Where they had been fairly substantially, but they still got more behind it. And not a surprise, they're going to use. And again, this is Bloomberg reporting.
That's what they said.
I'm relying on here. I haven't seen any release.
So Netflix is partnered
they're going to
with
use
YouTube,
it to help
Google
their
YouTube
continued funding needs, enormous
for
needs,
content.
In terms of AI, specifically the Stargate
Okay,
project.
we're
and
at
OpenAI,
a double top on
has replaced
SPY.
Microsoft as the largest single investor in terms of at least dollar-wise, with that $30 billion commitment. You'd imagine that they do need.
Shout out to Google.
The question actually in the past as well.
Shout out to YouTube. Shout out to Netflix.
SoftBank owns almost 90%. Will they have to sell some ARM? They haven't done that.
Sure.
They haven't done that as yet. And of course, that's also AI. So you'd imagine that perhaps they wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
Masa-san would not want to. But here they have done that sale.
And the main reason that the T-Move would be down, as much as it is on the idea that there is more potentially behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, if they were
Video is
down,
red now.
then you mopped up, you absorbed the supply.
That's it. I mean, people forget that.
See that that's what I was talking about earlier.
They are the majority.
That 145 right there is strong
T-Mobile.
resistance.
Which sometimes
It hit resistance,
tend to forget, but
that 145 level, and got rejected once again.
hostility, I guess, right? According to the Wall Street Journal, the tensions are rising even more. Of course, in terms
once
of
again,
they continue to compete in a lot of areas.
Man,
Microsoft
bro,
obviously was the main
I missed my
backer of
entry.
OpenAI for many years. They have
I've been talking about this 145 basically for a week straight.
Competing with it any number of ways in the enterprise and on new.
I knew this was going to be a rejection or breakout, and it rejected the 145. That's why I got it thick.
Corporation, and that becomes a question in terms of what Microsoft.
Hey, what's up, Ink? How you doing? Appreciate you for joining me. Hello.
Investors who put money into OpenAI previously.
Well,
that 145 level right there, I knew it was going to be hard to break.
That there's even if things get ugly, there's a new.
But we're still building a little bit of a higher low.
Around the Microsoft
well, we broke it right now.
Deal, which we know
but that 145 rejection was crucial.
The FTC, I believe, which is already looking at Microsoft in that deal, but that would be
still
bad if that
it's still
added
breaking down.
Pressure.
It would.
And the argument
would certainly show that
Microsoft
still breaking down.
Between the two, no doubt, if they went that road.
And they still talking about Microsoft.
Yes. And the other stock I wanted to check was Kraft Heinz.
That's what threw me off, guys.
That I'm in are blowing up this morning because Kraft Heinz said that it will not launch any new products in the U.S. with
that's what threw me off.
Which is food, drug, and
but we
cosmetic
still
dyes,
dropping
additives, effective immediately, and that they're going to take all the dyes out by 2027. Surprisingly, they said that 90%.
Listen to the information about Google and YouTube. I missed my entry, which is the rejection of the 145.
The health secretary is having an impact here in terms of raising concern about what our kids are eating.
We got another big.
Because they haven't moved.
Well, this is supposed to be support.
To ban all of these.
I need to
dyes,
change
that's
this.
Clearly the direction they're going in.
But do we know what the
green? That's another big support.
We don't know exactly, but it's
either
fake,
we're gonna bounce or get rejected.
It's not natural, right? Foods. I think that's the direction.
I know
right?
either we're gonna bounce
probably not great to put in our kids' bodies.
or drop even further if we get below the 144. But I missed my entry right here at this 145 rejection to the downside.
Yeah, but I think some of
I
the
missed
other
it.
snack foods.
You said they're not going to launch new products with dyes?
Effective immediately, but then they're going to phase out of the 10% that they already have by
By the
27.
end of 27.
What's
Which
the
sucks.
look like when it doesn't?
Probably dull,
Dull.
but it should taste the same.
Taste the same. All right, as long
You
as
would
it tastes
think.
I missed my
But,
entry,
that has been a
man.
problem in the past. Like America, they've tried to take the color dyes out of
Yeah,
fruit
cereals,
loops, and Americans didn't want
cereal
that.
makers tried it. And
So now we at
Actually, there's a
144.
Consumer news. Young, new CEO.
Support.
CFO is going to take that job effective October 1. Amazon moving Prime Day to 4 days.
Hey, what's going on, Jonathan Davis? Appreciate you for joining me. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Eventually, we're just going to want with Prime Week.
I guess so, or it's like, it's really kind of following
What up, what up, what up?
Christmas in July, which is, the holiday sales.
Please
start
like,
before,
share, and
Thanksgiving.
subscribe.
So it does seem as if, I wonder what the blurring is, but they clearly feel like they get a payoff.
How y'all doing out there? What's going on with y'all?
They still get the traffic.
We got the
They're
bounce
able
off
to put
144.
the bump.
What's
And
going
it
on with the
gets
chat?
into the official government data, right? You have to adjust for it in that quarter because you do get that bump in prime sales.
Just wanted to hit Nike as well. The company doesn't report earnings till next week, but the market is already.
We're gonna see what's happening at this 144.
Into the print.
Will we break the 144?
The stock,
or will we bounce?
Nike lowered the price target to 61 from 70.
But that 145 rejection was a great entry.
So price target to around it's a catch-up trade, but they see some upside in the fourth quarter, but also believes that earnings expectations for 26 are too high, and there's just not a lot of positive demand innovation feedback according to Morgan Stanley analysts. Look, Elliott Hill, the new CEO, he's actually almost a year into the job.
Sucks that I missed it.
Haven't seen a lot of progress yet. There are some green shoots that we've gotten in previous earnings reports, but it's still been quiet over there about how they're really turning things around.
Watch bonds today. Obviously, we mentioned the Fed meeting begins. We'll get that decision and presser tomorrow. But retail sales did come in weak. Biggest drop since March of 23. Restaurants and bars worst since February of 2023 as we continue to monitor signs of health.
Restaurants and bars. People ain't going to the restaurants no more. Worst number since 2023. That's what he just said. People are not spending as much money no more, which is a good thing. Hopefully they've been listening to Stock Sniper TV. People are not going to the bars and to the restaurants that much anymore. Yep, people are spending less money. But tomorrow is the big day. People are starting to spend less money. That's why the inflation numbers that came out, like I said then, that's the reason why inflation numbers turned out, people are going, inflation is not rising, because they're not going to raise the prices if the foot traction to the store is getting lighter and lighter. People are spending less money. And guess what that's going to do, guys, over time? If you are spending less money, it's going to force the Fed to cut the interest rates. That's what's going to happen. That's why spending less money is so very important. Because all the power is in the consumer's hand. All the power. That's what a lot of people don't know. As a consumer, you set the price, you dictate what's going on by if you buy it or not. We gotta stay aware of that and understand that we control this economy because we're the customers. And as in business 101, you learn this in business school. Say it with me, guys. The customer is always right. That's business 101. Bad business is when you don't put the customer first. Customers are very, 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 very important. No customer, no dolo. No customer, no moolah. You always got to remember that. That's why, on another note, as a content creator, you have to value your chat and your subscribers. You got to value them. You can't be treating your chat and your subscribers like some of these creators be talking to the people all type of ways because they got a lot of people. You got to value everybody that comes in your chat. You got to value. Otherwise, sooner or later, your chat and your subscribers are going to go down. You got to value the people. That was a lot of people don't think about. And as a customer, you got to realize you're valuable. If they don't treat you good, if they don't have that good business practice of the customer is always right, you got to find somewhere else to go spend your money. But people got to realize that if you are spending less money, that actually you got the power. The power is in your hand if you ain't spending no money. And that's what the system of America, the system is what I'm talking about right now. They want us spending money, as much money as possible. That's what keeps the system going. Then they can dictate and they can play everybody like a puppet. But if everybody understand that business 101, the number one rule of business is the customer is always right. So if we stop spending money, the prices go automatically have to go down. Now, the numbers came out this morning that people are not going to the bars and the restaurants as much. Because at one time, the restaurants was the ones holding up this economy because everybody was spending money. the hotels, the restaurants, the bars, right? They were doing a lot of hiring because a lot of people were spending money. So, and they raised the prices. It's like, as an example, Netflix. If people start unsubscribing to their Netflix and masses, guess what Netflix gonna have to do? They gonna have to go down on their prices to get the subscribers back. And that will happen if people start unsubscribing to Netflix by the masses. And then when they get the feedback, they're gonna want to know, why are people unsubscribing? Well, y'all prices are too high. And then y'all started going up on the Netflix subscription. Yeah, we love Netflix, but bro, y'all starting to charge a little bit too much for the, for the subscription. As an example, I'm just using Netflix as an example. We can even use that example with a pay-per-view on UFC or ESPN Plus. ESPN Plus now is like $10 a month when it used to be $3 and $4. What else? YouTube TV is $70 a month now when it used to be $50. And when they realize they got a whole lot of people, when they realize they got a big customer base, then they go up on their prices. That's what they do. So now numbers are coming out that people are spending less money at the bars, at the restaurants. So they can't raise prices right now. They can't do it. They can't go up on interest rates. That's why I think this is what I'm thinking. That sooner or later, they're going to have to drop these interest rate prices, and they're going to have to stop. They're going to have to start dropping prices on the stuff that we go buy. Sooner or later, you're going to start seeing more deals because people are not spending money like that no more. But people got to realize you have the power. You want to go up on this? Guess what? And I see that price and I don't like it. Like I love my pickles, right? If they go up $5 on this, and I look at that price and it say $5, oh no, I can't pay $5 for these pickles. I won't buy them. So we got to start thinking like that. Even though I got to have my pickles, the price of the pickles is a little bit too much for me right now. I don't need no pickles that bad. There ain't no life or death situations. I just got a habit of eating pickles. FK, yo, bro. Hey, what's happening? How you doing? Appreciate you for joining me. Hope you and your family having a great, great, great day. Hope you having a great day. Hope your day is starting out real, real beautiful. But yes, the numbers will come out this morning. Just like last week, the inflation has not risen. And I told everybody the reason why, in my opinion, why prices are not rising, because people, we find out today, people are spending less money. Now people are spending less money going to the bars, to the restaurants, and to the hotels. So in a minute, they're going to have to lower these prices. They're going to have to. You're going to see Popeye's chicken cheaper. You're going to see those good 5-piece Popeyes deals come back. You're going to start seeing McDonald's dropping its prices. You're going to start seeing all these restaurants dropping prices. So if you out and about, just pay attention to the foot action at the restaurants in your town. Start paying attention. We're coming up on 9 o'clock, guys. We're coming up on 9 o'clock. The Don. Good morning, brother. Hey, what's going on? Don Hulo. I know you changed your YouTube handle, but I'm used to calling you Don Julio. We're 30 minutes in. Seems like time passing, but it's really, really slow today. It's only 30 minutes in. It's only 30 minutes in. Let's see if NVIDIA, I want to see this 145 area again. I missed it last time talking about Google and Netflix. So I want to try to see what's going to happen when we get back up to 145 again. I ain't even tripping it because I'm being more cautious than usual because of what's going on what's going on. I'm being more cautious than usual. I'm trying to be more precise with my trades. I'm being more cautious. And also tomorrow is a big day. The Fed speak tomorrow. We're going to see if he's going to lower interest rates. So I'm being very, very cautious as we come back up to 145. If I don't get any trades in, I'm all right with that. I'm all right with that. I'm being more precise with my day trades. But tomorrow will be looking for a good trade. Appreciate everybody for joining me. I am your host, the one and only Stock Sniper, live reaction to the stock market. If you're just not joining me, well, we found out that people are spending less money. They're going to the restaurants less. They're going to the movies and to the clubs and to the hotels. They're spending less money. Okay, here we go. We're back.
Prices, industrial production. There's a bid today with yields a little bit lower. The 10-year 4.43%. This is ahead of the Federal Reserve big meeting out tomorrow. Coming up this hour, we're going to talk to the CEO of nuclear technology company Oklo, whose shares are jumping again today. They've climbed more than 75% just in the past month after a deal with the Air Force and a $400 million capital raise. Plus, an AI feud spills out into the open as Microsoft and OpenAI reportedly spar over the future of their game-changing partnership. New details ahead.
First, though, let's get some breaking economic data just crossing the tape and get to Rick Santelli. Good morning, Rick.
9 o'clock.
Yes, good morning, Carl. April business inventories expected to be unchanged, arrived exactly as expected, unchanged. And here's what's fascinating. If you look at January, up 0.4. You look at February, up 0.2. You look at last month, up 1/10. Now unchanged. And this is the first month of the second quarter. And we see that the inventory build is coming the other way because of pulling forward. So it does make sense. And, of course, this number at 0 isn't going to really contribute much to GDP, although we have seen some other inventory numbers that might. And in addition to this inventory number, we also have National Association of Home Builders Housing Market Index for June. And for that, we head east to Diana Oleg. Diana?
Well, Rick, home builder sentiment in June dropped 2 points from May to 32 on the NAHB index. The street was actually looking for a slight improvement. This index has only seen a lower reading twice since the Great Recession back in 2012, and that was in December of 2022 when mortgage rates first shot up from those pandemic record lows, and in April 2020 at the very start of the pandemic. Now, the builders cite high mortgage rates, tariffs, and overall economic uncertainty. Of the index's three components, current sales conditions fell 2 points to 35. Sales expectations in the next 6 months dropped 2 points to 40. And buyer traffic fell 2 points to 21. That is the lowest reading on that since the end of 2023. As a result, builders are cutting prices 37% in the June survey.
I told y'all.
That's the highest share since NAHB started tracking this 3 years ago. It's up from 34%
cutting prices
and 29% in April. The average price.
That's business 101, guys.
NAHB's chief economist Rob Dietz said, given current market conditions, NAHB is forecasting a decline in single-family starts for 2025. Regionally, on a 3-month moving average, the South and West were the weakest. And of course, that is, Sarah, where we build the most homes, usually.
I wonder how you put that up against what we got from Lennar today, the home builder, which, as I mentioned, has actually been a winner, even though some of it was soft and they talked about the challenges in the market, like affordability.
Yeah, exactly. But they also lowered prices. You saw the average home price on closings down nearly 9% for Lennar, and that's what we're seeing from the builders as well, as cutting prices, and begs the questions, are they even able to buy down those mortgage rates? Ivy Zellman said last Friday on our air that even when you buy down those rates, a lot of consumers still can't even qualify at the lower rates. So Lennar is seeing that weakness in demand because of affordability.
Okay, thank you, Diana. Diana Olick. Speaking of overall demand, wanted to dive into retail sales a little bit. This is the month for May.
Retail sales.
It's a picture of a softening consumer. The overall headline number.
Pay attention.
0.9%. That was worse than expected, versus 0.1% the month before. If you look and break it down, you can see it was pretty much lower across the board. Here is what the May number looks like relative to the April number. So total retail sales were lower. If you take out autos, it was also lower. But autos, you can see, was a big drag. We did see a big dip in the month of May for auto sales. And then general merchandise, they're, slightly higher to unchanged. If you break it down a little bit further to see what the biggest losers were on the month in terms of declines of retail sales, gas stations, autos, food services, and drinking places. I highlight this one because this is the only services part of the overall retail sales number, and it saw a decline. And that's important because it speaks to the softening momentum in the U.S. consumer. Services had been a really strong part of the economy, and so has, restaurant services. So that would decline. Grocery stores were also down. There were some offsets. Miscellaneous store retailers, that could be anything from pet stores to used merchandise. That was strong. Sporting goods, hobby stores, furniture had a little bit of a comeback. Online, still positive, and surprisingly, clothing positive, but not enough to offset the overall number, which was down. The only silver lining here, guys, is that the control group, which actually feeds into our overall GDP, was quite strong. And that's going to make GDP second quarter look a little bit better, thanks to the rise in furniture and sporting goods and that sort of thing. So kind of a mixed picture there. But David, as I mentioned earlier, the Fed tomorrow has a tricky job when it comes to characterizing what it's going to do next and what they think about the economy, because you cannot deny there are signs of softness from retail sales to the Fed beige book to some of the employment numbers.
Any new words we think that Chair Powell will use when taking over under on what they might be, and therefore how often they'll be
uncertainty.
Mentioned? We're going to hear that one, right?
Uncertain is going to be a big one, whether it relates to business, consumer.
You see that every time.
Uncertainty. Because here's the thing, that their dual mandate is pointing them in different directions, and they need to decide which one they're more worried about: weakening economy or higher inflation. And if they are truly data dependent, right now it is weakening economy winning out over inflation. So if they're going to say they're worried about inflation, they have to make the case of why they think the tariffs are going to cause inflation, because we just don't see that yet.
Well, do you imagine the Q2 GDP will be a reversal of Q1?
For sure.
So why wouldn't the Fed say the same thing about the inflation data they're getting right now?
It's what the same thing that they said about Q1, which is it's totally distorted by imports and exports, and there's a lot of a give back.
Well, that's the problem with being data dependent. Is that there's huge distortions.
It's a problem with GDP dependent, but I think if you look at they could easily make the case that the economy is doing fine. The unemployment rate is 4.2%. It barely budged. But they could also make the case that the economy is showing some signs of softness. And I think that's what the market is telling you when it says that we still could see almost 2 rate cuts.
Yeah. They've cut 100 basis points. We're still waiting for all that to filter in.
Yeah, I think the question is just how, I spoke recently to Governor Kugler. She's
hawkish.
Very hawkish, and she's very worried about inflation, even though we just haven't seen signs. She's looking at some of the surveys about companies saying that they're going to raise prices or consumers expecting higher prices. And that's going to be the big debate. How much do you read into that kind of stuff? Because long-term inflation expectations, 5-year, 10-year, they're not showing any big concern there.
Well, yeah, unless on UVish, they're still pretty elevated on a...
But that's survey stuff. Yeah, sure. But that's also very partisan.
Yes.
I mean, look at the breakdown of Democrats and Republicans, and they cannot make their policy for Democrats that are expecting a big inflationary wave as a result of tariffs.
Right. Meantime, stocks are under some pressure today this morning as investors watch developments out of Israel and Iran. And, of course, that week, a retail sales number. Joining us this morning, Fidelity Investments Director of Global Macro, Urian Timmer's with us, who I'm sure has been listening in. Urian, it's good to see you. Of the dual threats that we were just discussing, do you think that one is more pronounced than the other?
I think they're fairly in balance right now, and
that's why the amount of money that we spend is very, 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 very important to them, guys. If you heard that little segment right there, pay attention. The amount of money that we spend is very, very crucial. When they say the economy is softening, that means that people are spending less money. And then once you realize that if you spend less money, that you control the narrative, it makes them have to shift a certain direction. Now, if people continue to spend less money, guess what's going to happen? That Fed chair, Jerome Powell, is going to have to cut interest rates, bro. He's going to have to. So like she said, it's a battle between inflation and consumer spending. If the consumer is spending less money, you got to drop the interest rate. Why? To get people to start back spending money, to get people to go back to buying vehicles, to get people to go back to the restaurants, to get people to buy all these other things. If you see those numbers that she had up there, all that negative, the housing, like home builders are dropping their prices. So let's say that you want to buy a house. Well, to build the house, not buy, but build. If you want to build a house in June, it's going to be cheaper than it was like in January, February. Why? Because people are not buying building material. People are not hiring construction people to build houses. So when that happens and they realize that it's because of the prices, they drop the prices. Because like I say, if there's no foot action coming in the door, you got to lower your prices to attract the people to come back. That's why Jerome Powell is being pressured to do what? To lower those interest rates, to get people to come right back in the door, to get the customers coming back. Because once I realize that I can't pay $5 for these pickles that I got to have, guess what? It'll sit on that shelf. And that's when they come with dropping the prices. You heard that lady say it over and over and over again about dropping prices, dropping the prices. That the retail stores, the grocery stores are seeing less people buying groceries. People, and then if you look at the other numbers, people only buying the things that they need. That's what's happening right now. People are not buying the things that they want. They're starting to buy the things that they need. So in other words, people are starting to, because like I said, about 6 months ago, all this, we are getting a free economic class, a free economic class. You're going to financial advisor school right now. Now, people are just not picking up things and just buying it. Now they're looking at the prices. They're looking at how much it was last month, compared to this month. Oh man, that thing went up $2 in 1 month. I just leave it there. That is finance class 101. That's all. So people are being their own financial advisors right now. They're not buying the things that they want. They're buying the things that they need. She just showed the graph. The data came out this morning. The economy is softening, AKA people are spending less money. So we got to understand and realize is that we hold the power as the consumer. Business 101. The customer is always right. That's business 101, guys. Customer is always right. But they try to blind you from that these days. They don't want you to think that you are right every single time. Why? Because they want to continue to make 1,000% off these products, off the things that we want. They know you're going to buy the things that you need, but how they really get all that wealth is by us buying the things that we really don't need. That's what the numbers really is, right? That's what the numbers really are. If we spend money on things that we really don't need, like going to the restaurants every single day, going to fast food every single day, going to the corner store every single day, buying the things that we don't need. You don't need to go to a restaurant every single day. You don't need to buy DoorDash and Uber every single day. You don't need to buy chips and a soda from your favorite corner store every single day. That's the numbers they really worry about, the excess spending, because they know we're going to buy the things that we need, right? It's the things that we don't need that they need to, that they need us to buy in record amounts, because what? The things that we are addicted to getting, they can put any price on it and we're gonna buy it. Like my pickles that I gotta have. Guess what? I remember when this jar was like $1.50. Now the jar is almost $5. Guess what? I don't buy it as much. And to the point where I won't even buy it anymore. And once everybody get that mindset, guess what's going to happen? They're going to have to lower the price of the pickles. In that example, the gas, they said that too. People are not, but gas, the price of gas is not going down because of whatever Donald Trump is doing. Shout out to Donald Trump. I rock with you, but the price of gas is not going down because of whatever Donald Trump did in office. That's not why, guys. The price of gas is going down because the lady just said it. The numbers just told us this morning. People are not buying gas like that. They're not. They're not driving as much. They're not going to the restaurants as much. They are not buying things that they really don't need as much. So they're not driving as much. So that'll make the gas prices go down. The price of eggs are starting to go down. People are not buying eggs. I used to eat eggs every single morning. Guess what? I don't eat eggs every morning no more. I cut it out. And guess what? Everybody else is cutting it out too. And that'll make the price of eggs go back down. Not because of what some politician has done. The consumer, we run this economy, bro. They want us to think that they dictate the economy. No. Amazon and all these companies are up there like that because why? We keep buying off Amazon. We stop buying off Amazon, guess what's going to happen? Amazon going to lower the prices. Amazon Prime going to go down from $12 a month to a lower fixed rate. The UFC, which I love dearly, would have to go down on their ESPN Plus subscription. The pay-per-views, they have to go down on the pay-per-view fights. I remember when the UFC fights used to be $50. They're 80 now. But people got to watch their UFC. And they're still buying it. They don't care. They don't care. Adrian C., my middle school teacher said, if we refrain from buying gas at one station, the rest will go down. The prices will go down on the gas. That's business 101. As an example, if I got a hamburger stand and I'm selling my hamburgers for $10, everybody's coming. I got a lot of customers. Everybody's coming. But then I say, well, okay, because as business owners, as people in business, we can't be greedy, bro. We can't be greedy. So, okay, I'm going up on my hamburgers. I got so many people buying them. I want to make more money now. I'm going to raise my hamburgers from $10 to $12. People start coming a lot. They love the hamburgers. Now, I'm going to raise the hamburger price from 12 to 15. Well, if people just love the hamburger, they're just buying it, they're not really paying attention to the small price increase. But let it get a little bit too high, $15 a burger. Then all of a sudden, my foot traffic starts to drop as me analyzing the analytics and realizing, well, hey, I'm making less money. I'm selling my burgers for $15 now, but people are not coming as much. Okay, now I want to know why people ain't coming as much. So now you figure out, people are saying, man, the prices are too high. The prices are too high. I'm not finna buy that burger. I like the burger, but it ain't worth $15. Guess what I'm gonna have to do as a business owner? I'm gonna have to lower the prices down. I'm gonna have to lower the prices down maybe less than $10 and start marketing my new price. To do what? To get the people to come back. Because if the people don't come back and buy the burger, guess what's going to happen? I got to shut down my business. That's why we got to realize that the customer is always right. That's in business school. I don't even think they teach that anymore. But in business school, the number one rule was the customer is always right. Your job is to have perfect customer service. Listen to your customers. But these days, these big timers, they done got so big, they want us to eliminate that the customer is always right, and they always want to be right. Because they're doing what? They're making so much money off these products, they want us blind and spending. That's all they want. So, but we got to understand that we run this, not no politician or none of that. They want us to think that because what they're doing is the reason why the prices are going down. That's not true. The reason why the price is going down is because people are spending less money. That's why. That's why tomorrow, Jerome Powell is going to have to make some serious decisions real fast. What decision he going to have to make, Stock Sniper? Is he going to actually cut the interest rates? And it's getting real, hectic. Why? Because the numbers came out today. People are spending less money. People are only buying the things that they need. So in other words, the big ballers ain't making that, the money, their income has dropped. Nobody's coming in the stores. Grocery stores ain't making as much money. Car sales have gone down. People are not building homes, so they have to drop the prices. That's what's happening, guys. That's what's happening. So we got to be aware of that. We got to be aware of that. That's why it's very important to pay attention to the economic calendar. And when they come out with these numbers, you got to pay really, really attention. And some of the stuff, they talk in code, right? That's why it's very important to take notes. You take notes and then you Google it. If you don't understand the word, you take notes. And then after you finish watching, you go back on your notes and you Google everything that you wrote down to get a clear understanding on what this stuff means. Soft landing and soft economic data and all these different words of terminology that inflation rose, inflation decreased, all these different things. You write them down and then you Google them. Okay, let's listen what they're talking about now.
Absolutely. It's autocratic.
Napoleon. Hey, what's up, Napoleon? Nowadays, these restaurants want you to tip for takeout a few grand by the end of the year. Not a waitress, but to fix a plate. Right. And people are spending less money. They just came out with the numbers this morning. People are really getting the earn and spend less. The price automatically, they'll have to drop their prices. Otherwise, what's going to happen? They're going to have to close the business because more and more people are going to stop coming.
3 weeks, the odds are gone. I don't see either of those scenarios relevant, frankly, right now to Iran. And look, one more point on the Israelis. They have a legitimate existential problem.
But really, all they got to do, I mean, is make their prices reasonable, and their customers will come back. I'll start back buying my pickles. I won't hold on to this one jar forever. That's an example. I'll start putting my pickles back on my salads again. Is that example? I start buying my eggs again that I used to eat every single morning. But I don't have to eat eggs every single morning like that. They have to drop the prices. I like my eggs, but guess what? I don't like them that much.
Okay, Aaron David, thank you very much.
I don't have to have eggs every single day. They just taste good to me. But I really don't need eggs every single morning.
Changes to that Republican bill. We'll talk about what lawmakers are proposing next. Later on, we're going to be joined by the CEO of nuclear power company Oklo as shares hover inches from some new all-time highs.
I don't even go down the egg aisle no more.
This 4th of July, fire up your barbecue with our red, white, and blue sale.
As another example. But we're going to see what's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow's big day. Will the feds cut interest rates?
A 4-pound case of king crab for only $99 or a 5-pound case of snow crab for $40.
Then we'll start seeing more of the stuff go down. But we got to realize that we control all this stuff. The consumers, we have the power. We got to realize that our actions can get a business closed down. Literally. If nobody's spending money, the business closed. That's a lot of power. A lot. See, these business owners, guys, they're making so much money that they're out of touch with reality. Is that your customers is really, really more valuable to you than any asset that you got. They have to be recognized that. They got to recognize that, like they used to.
Thinking that how we can give value to the partners, to the community, and to the society. So whenever that we actually have been working side by side with them, they will think that we are the partner of choice. So it creates a long-term sustainable way of doing business rather than.
And the only way they'll learn once they see they monthly, all the millions they make every single month, once they see that decline, then they'll start valuing their customers again. They don't value the customers right now. In other words, they treat their customers like junkies, literally. They'll talk to you all type of ways too. They'll try to talk to you all kind of ways. But they'll get their act right if people stop buying stuff that they really don't need. Like the numbers we seen today, that was astonishing numbers. I got to clip that part out and put out a video because that's very, very important. I don't get my nails done like I used to. They're crazy, outrageous, overpriced. Yeah, I even heard that the price of haircuts are like $40 now. I was like, wow, bro. You go to your local barbershop and they charging $40 for a basic haircut. Super expensive. I know how to cut my own hair, but when I used to go to the barber, the haircuts was like $15. Now they say the haircuts are like $40.
And with that, let's get to Emily Wilkins in Washington with the latest, Emily, on the Senate version of the bill, what's in it, and how folks are reacting. Hey, Sarah,
the haircuts are like $40 a haircut now. Some barbers probably more than that.
It just dropped yesterday, and it is already in trouble with both House and Senate Republicans raising concerns about some of the provisions. Some, like Senator Josh Hawley, is concerned with some of the cuts to Medicaid that are in the bill, specifically limiting that provider tax that states can charge health care.
And see, she's back. Well, that's not the same lady.
Others are concerned about the overall cost, and that includes Senator Ron Johnson, who said this morning on CNBC that more spending cuts are going to be needed.
They talked about the only numbers that count are 218 and 51. Again, that's not the type of goal setting we need when we're $37 trillion in debt on the road.
The Senate measure makes dozens of tweaks to the House bill. And
some are charging up to $100 to get at the front of the line. Some are, man.
And deducting interest. It also slows down the phase out of clean energy tax credits.
That's crazy.
What was in the House bill. So things are a little bit better for solar and wind, although not as good as it would have been before these policies were proposed. And the Senate bill also would blunt the impact of that so-called revenge tax on foreign countries and investors, giving countries more time to potentially negotiate something with the U.S. Now, the text that Senate Republicans
$100 for a haircut.
A final proposal for that state and local deduction.
Ain't no way.
Senators have said, though, it will be lower than that $40,000 proposed by the House,
and then you need another haircut next week.
House members from high tax states to threaten to sink the Senate bill if it even goes $1 under that agreed upon $40,000 cap. Congress is going to need to move quickly if they want to finish this by July 4th. And Sarah will be keeping a very close eye on what the next steps are going to be and how senators react when they meet today.
Emily, thank you. Emily Wilkins in D.C. Let's get a news update now. Courtney Reagan has that for us. Courtney.
Hi, good morning, David. A Russian missile and drone attack on Ukraine killed at least 15 people overnight, according to local officials.
Man, there's a lot going on.
Were injured in the bombardment, which heavily
damaged. There's a lot going on these days. It's getting worse and worse.
Attack on the Ukrainian capital this year. Former Senator Bob Menendez surrendered himself today to a federal prison in Pennsylvania to serve 11 years on
in line.
The jury found the New Jersey Democrat guilty in July of taking part in a scheme that awarded him and his wife, Nadine Menendez,
that's a lie.
hundreds of thousands of dollars in gold bars and cash in exchange for his influence. His wife was convicted in a separate trial and will be sentenced in September. Kraft Heinz announced today it will remove artificial dyes from its products by the end of 2027. The decision comes as the FDA and Health and Human Services Chief Robert F. Kennedy pushed the food industry to drop the dyes. According to Kraft Heinz, about
that's
10%
good news. They're gonna
of
drop those dyes,
including Crystal Light Jello.
Out of Jello.
Sir, I know you were talking about this earlier.
Them synthetic dyes. That's good news.
Or Jello. Is it really clear? I don't know.
They say those dyes that they be putting in the candy is unhealthy.
The Federal Reserve meeting getting underway today, and there are some hopeful signs for the bulls in CNBC's latest Fed survey. We'll share the details after this. Plus, uranium prices spiking this week as hopes around nuclear energy and energy independence grow. We're going to talk about the stocks to watch in that space later this hour.
Let's see. Yeah, this market is moving basically sideways. Basically sideways. Another day, no trades for me today, guys. The one trade that I was looking for, the rejection of the 145, I was basically running my mouth and I missed it. So nothing for me today. And I don't see nothing that's really, it's a lot going on. So, you know, I got to be very, very careful. And I'm wanting to retire within a few years, but not sure I'll be able to with the prices of everything going up and our taxes and healthcare keep rising, but not my pay. Yeah. But yeah, guys, I think that's it. It's really basically moving flat. We did hear some good information about inflation and the numbers that came out this morning about the softening of the economy. People are spending less money, so they're starting to cut prices down. So that's what it is. I think that's it for me, guys. I appreciate y'all for joining me. Appreciate everybody for coming through and rocking with me and giving their take on what's going on. I really, really appreciate it. Okay, let's see. Everybody that's been subscribing to the channel and liking the videos, really, really appreciate it. Trying to put out as much information as possible. Trying to put some things on everybody's mind. That's really what I've been trying to do over here. As I get it, I try to push it out. So with that being said, I love and I appreciate y'all. Earn, spend less. And I'm glad y'all are starting to spend less money and make proper investments. With that being said, this is the one and only Stock Sniper. I love and I appreciate y'all. To the next one, I'm out.